Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Dona Kappmeyer, and I'm the CEO and firm owner of Action Coach KGP and Capital Game Plan Consulting in South Texas. And I am going to be your host for today. I am extremely excited about having our special guest, Dago Salinas, on our show. Dago is the CEO of ClinSpec Solutions. Today, we're going to speak with Dago about his journey to get to where he's at today and the challenges and successes of owning and operating a business. If this is the first time on our channel, please be sure to like and subscribe so you can get great notifications when we publish new content. Dago, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on.
Hey, thank you, Donna. And thank you for taking the time to spotlight small businesses such as ClinSpec. Happy to be here.
You're quite welcome. This is going to be fun. Really looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah.
So let's start talking a little bit about how your business is structured. Tell me more about what that looks like.
Yeah, Donna. So before I get into the business part, what I'd like to do is give you a little bit of context so that everything makes sense as we continue with the discussion. So if we backtrack to 2016, I was an active duty Navy nurse, and I was tapped on the shoulder. It was Mrs. Katie Davitt, beautiful lady, great preceptor. She was an ICU nurse at the time, and she said, "Hey, Dago, we need a PICC nurse." And for those who don't know what a PICC is, it stands for peripherally inserted central catheter. It's a catheter that typically gets inserted in the upper arm, and the catheter gets advanced into a larger vessel in your chest. It's called the superior vena cava, which is right above the heart. And the thought of that was kind of frightening. I was like, oh my gosh, I got to learn how to place picks. And Katie did an amazing job. However, the training was expedited. They really needed a pick nurse because a hospital in Jacksonville was really losing money outsourcing these procedures to a civilian hospital. And so they wanted to keep things in-house. So we
Okay.
expedited the training. I went through the see one, do one, teach one methodology, which is very common in healthcare. And it wasn't a very comfortable feeling to insert a catheter that has a lot of risk and to be proficient with that and be independent. But I had to learn the way to do it. And so, if we fast forward to 2023, I was exposed to virtual reality at my command in San Antonio. I was assigned to San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston, as an instructor for the hospital corpsman program, and they were running a VR research project using goggles. And I've got an example of what that looks like. Having a VR headset like this to train our hospital corpsmen trauma procedures. It's called TCCC, so that they can better take care of our casualties overseas. And so when I put on the VR headset for the first time, that just lit up the light bulb in my head. And I said, wow, why are we not using virtual reality to better train our vascular access specialists? Imagine being able to see one, simulate many, and in the process teach a few, and then perform it on the patient, right? So that that increases confidence and procedural skills. So that's the background behind ClinSpec. And to answer your question, Donna, so ClinSpec is an LLC. It's a limited liability company. With my military background, I did complete 23 years of service. I was able to leverage the Small Business Administration to get it registered as a service disabled veteran owned small business. So that makes ClinSpec a little bit more competitive other people for government bidding. So it's a LLC. I started as a sole proprietor and eventually became a partnership with an individual. His name is Matthew Ostroff, who is just he's world renowned and is a master in vascular access. A lot of business owners might disagree with giving away equity in their company, but my philosophy is it's not about me, right? It's about a service that we're providing. And if the individual or the individuals are adding value to your company, why not share some of that equity with them so that they feel a part of the company?
My goodness, I love that. And this is just huge. So let's explore that a little bit more. Why do you think business owners don't want to give that up?
There's many reasons, Donna. I think a lot of it is could be intrinsic, where I don't know, there could be a little bit of greed, or maybe not even greed, maybe just inexperience working with teams. I come from a military background. I understand the value of teamwork, and interdisciplinary teamwork, to be more specific, because it's not just about nurses. Nursing is my background. I depend on an interdisciplinary team. I depend on physicians, nurses, information technologists, programmers, curriculum developers, researchers. It's a team effort. So if you don't come from that background where you're used to working with people and understand the value and diversity that other people bring into business, it's really hard to give that equity away. So part of it, Donna, could be inexperience. I think in very small cases, it could be greed, where people just don't want to give away their company.
Hmm.
Um, but in this company, the philosophy is that it's a team effort. We're not here for the personal gain. We're here for the benefit of others.
Beautifully said, right? You're doing something bigger than yourself, and the only way that you can do that is if you involve others in it.
That's exactly right.
Very good. So let's talk a little bit about the company and who does your business serve? Who is your customer, if you will?
Yeah, great question, Donna. So there's a couple different models that we have. One is the business to business. So if you think about it, if I'm a nurse and I'd like to be trained in vascular access procedures, whether it's inserting a PICC line or a midline or ultrasound guided IVs, which are considered more advanced procedures,
Hmm.
I would go on the internet and I would search for an education company that's accredited and qualified to do the teaching. So what we're doing, Donna, is I'm providing, I'm augmenting, I'm not replacing anything that they currently do the traditional way. I'm simply augmenting with technology in XR, in immersive VR, augmented reality, and mixed reality, what they currently do. So students go through their training pipeline and then they augment it with our technology.
Okay.
So it's business to business. Now, the other pipeline is I can go directly business to customer. So on our website, we do have services that we provide because at the end of the day, we're also clinicians. Everyone who works for ClinSpec is certified, um, and we're educators. So we're here not only to teach, but also to mentor in the long run, new vascular access specialists.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. Are there other companies that are doing the same thing that you're doing, or is this unique to the market?
This is unique to the market, Donna. These are very exciting times in vascular access. We have a short-term vision, and we also have long-term goals that we're shooting for. Right now, this is it. ClinSpec is the pioneer. We're leading this as a team. Um, Matt Ostroff, with his influence, his expertise, he lives in New Jersey, and he's got a huge network. Um, we're here for the long run, and we want to continue evolving and providing additional services to everyone interested in our specialty.
Wow, it's fantastic. It's amazing. So, what is one thing that you wish more people knew about your business or the industry that you serve?
Yeah, so one key thing, Donna, is a lot of people have the misconception when we talk about XR and even artificial intelligence, a lot of flags get raised, right? A lot of red flags. People are concerned that the newer technology is here to replace current practices or the way that we currently do things.
Hmm.
And that's not true. What we're trying to do is we're enhancing it through evidence-based knowledge and learning theories that are out there. I'm currently a PhD student at MGH IHP, which is located in Boston. And a lot of the things that we're learning there is that um, there's specific, there's interesting ways, there's a science and there's an art to how we learn, right? So what I'm
Yeah,
trying to do is bring in that educational learning theory and combine it with technology in a specialty where we greatly need it.
love that. With all of the advancement in technology and AI incorporated and how fast things are changing, what does business look like for you in the next 3 to 5 years?
So we're currently building, we're in a development stage. So we're building it's an initiative called VIVA,
Okay.
which stands for the Virtual Institute for Vascular Access. It's a metaverse-based ecosystem where we're going to be able to take learners, again, with the VR headset. People will be able to put on a VR headset or even on a mobile device or desktop computer, and we can take learners in this environment where we're not just going through PowerPoint, right? The traditional way. We're immersing students in an environment that they've never seen before, that's
Wow.
interactive, that's building onto the knowledge, and also improving their skills. Because at the end of the day, we're introducing three-dimensional assets that they can touch, they can interact with. We have 360, 180 video. We can do this live, synchronously, and asynchronously as well, just to be mindful of people's schedules. And yeah, so that's the Viva initiative. Now, from Viva, after people get the didactic information, now we can branch off and get the hands-on through immersive VR or mixed reality.
So crazy stuff. So what's the feedback then with all this new technology being augmenting what they've learned as traditional methods, if you will?
It's mind-blowing, Donna. So if we go back to the example I provided when we started the conversation, imagine getting trained by the same individual. Let's say Mrs. Katie, I'll call her Katie just to protect her privacy. But let's say I go back in time and get trained by Katie. Instead of simply going through the didactic and learning the knowledge and some of the skills with the kits that were provided, now we're able to get some hands-on practice before I make it to the bedside. So there's a theory that's called mastery learning theory, where it's all about repetition. We're able to not mentally, but visually go into these learning environments and practice procedures over and over and over again with a facilitator that's there to coach you along the way. And imagine doing that a bunch of times. There's no set number. There's not like a magic number that we have that's supported by research. But just imagine going through that many, many times. My hypothesis is that confidence will improve and that
Uh-huh.
procedural skills will improve as well, because now they're seeing how things interplay together when they make it to the bedside.
I'm glad you brought that up, and thank you for breaking that down because with the types of learning styles there are three different types of learning styles. We call it KVA or kinesthetic, visual, and auditorial. What you're doing is you're introducing all three in the equation, and with that repetitive practice, you're making them that much better. And I love the fact that you said, "Hey, this now brings their confidence up because they've been doing it, right?"
Yeah. And those terms have actually changed. They're really not learning styles anymore. And if you look at the latest of the latest in learning, they're
Uh-huh.
called learning preferences. People prefer
Beautiful,
to learn it
yeah,
in different ways. And what's really key here, Donna, is really the repetition. There's a lot of
yeah.
science behind it where the brain adapts to all this stimuli, continuous stimuli that you provide it. There's something called plasticity where the brain reshapes the neurons in our brain. They reshape and they connect in ways that they never have
Mm-hmm.
before. And
Right.
when we add that through repetition in our environment, that's what leads to long-term memory and long-term learning.
Yeah, you're disconnecting those old ones and you're reconnecting new ones and creating these new highways.
Exactly. Yeah,
It's
we're
all
training
it's
it.
awesome. Training the
Yeah.
new highways, and they're much better highways for your
I love
brain.
that. I love that comparison. It is like a highway. Initially, you
Mhm.
start like a little, like a sidewalk, and then you start making it into a street, and then that street becomes a road, and then a highway, and it just becomes an interstate, and more convoluted.
Awesome. So let's talk about success. What do you define as success for you?
So that's a great question. It's one of the toughest questions that we'll probably ask, because the answer is going to vary depending on who you ask, right?
Mhm.
For me, number one, you can't have success unless you've got a problem that needs to be solved. Okay, so that's key. If you're going to start a business, first and foremost, you have to know what is the problem that you're after. What are you trying to solve? Okay. If you can't figure that out, success will be very, very difficult, in my opinion. Um, but if you're looking at traits, if we're talking about what's going to make a person successful, You got to have resiliency because there's going to be times when we fail, things don't work, and you just have to get back up and try it again. You have to be disciplined. You have to have structure in your life and also family work balance. In my case, I'm a husband. I've got two young, beautiful girls.
Hmm.
They have to be a part of this. If you don't have that support system that can help you with your business, it's also going to be very tough to be successful. Um, Understanding that you don't have to do this alone. It's okay to form teams and I think the more heads, the better to some extent. And you also have to remain current in your field. You can't just wing it, or you can't simply rely on what people say and take that as a fact. You have to stay current. You have to read the literature and stay on top of your game.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Thank you for sharing that. If there was one piece of advice that you would give to the business owners who are listening to this podcast, what would that be?
I would say learn the J curve of economics. Okay, I didn't learn that until recently. So if you think of a J, right, it starts up here and it does a U and then it continues up. In business, and I'm sure you can really relate to this, Donna, with your own business, there's a starting point, and then you can expect that starting point to go down. There's going to be expenses, there's going to be failures, there's going to be a lot of learning curves where you feel like you're just not making progress. You're not
Mhm.
going anywhere. You're swimming against the current. Eventually, you're going to make that U, where if you're looking at the line when you learn how to write letters, and I'm teaching my daughter, so I know this very well. You write the U and you stop at that line. Eventually, it's going to go past the threshold where you're gaining more than what you're losing, and then things start to pick up. That time is different depending on the business.
Yeah,
For consultants and what we do, I think it's taken me about at least a year and a half to 2 years to start breaking that threshold. That's how long it takes, and that's how resilient one needs to be to have a consulting business.
beautifully. Well said. Love that J curve, right? But you have to have patience. You have to be persistent. You
Yeah,
have to put the work in and day out. And so many people just give up, right? That's just one of those things. It's like, I'm done, I'm burnt out. But if you can be
right.
persistent and diligent and relentless, it will come. It just takes some time. And it is different for every business. You're
Yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
right.
And
Right.
hopefully it's a lowercase j, right?
Yeah. Yes. Not, yeah,
Not
exactly.
a not an uppercase j, because then that would be a long decrease, right? And we don't want that.
All right. With all these successes that you're having, right, especially where you're at in the business, if there was one area that you could improve, what would that be?
Donna, I'm terrible at marketing. I'm terrible at social media. I think with balance, you have to know your weaknesses.
Mm,
Everyone has strengths, right? We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. It's really doing something about those weaknesses, and doing something about it.
mhm,
One really cool thing that ClinSpec that I take a lot of pride in is that we've participated in a program that's called the Department of Defense Skill Bridge Program. And if you haven't heard of that, it's essentially it's a federal program where you as a company become an industry partner with the Department of Defense. And what happens is that your company gets posted, and then you're able to accept military service members as they're exiting the service. You can take them in as interns for about 3 to 4 months, 90 to
okay.
120 up to 180 days. And they work with you depending on what your needs are. It's illegal to pay them, so there's not an expense. You just have to commit some time to make sure that you're doing them a service by helping them transition from the military into the civilian sector. And super proud. We've had about 20 service members so far that have been sponsored through ClinSpec. And part of that is social media. I've always had a social media service member who's really helped out and made an impact.
Oh my God, that is amazing. I did not even know that existed.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. So that's something I share when I meet with other business owners. Look into the Department of Defense Skill Bridge program, become a partner, and see what type of value you're able to provide to them and you'd be super surprised to see what value they're able to bring into your business.
Love that. Hey, thanks for sharing that. That's great, great information. And a lot of people should be able to capitalize on that and help that transition because we know how much of a challenge that is.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Just to kind of piggyback onto that, coaching is another one, Donna. Not being afraid to reach out and find resources to help you as a business owner receive some guidance and coaching. That's something that I still haven't done, and I think that's what has got us connected. It's me kind
Mm,
of raising my hand. I don't consider myself a business person, even though I'm a business owner. That sounds crazy.
mm,
But I come from the military. What I know is working with people, interpersonal skills.
mm,
I'm a clinician, but the business side is something that needs to be learned. And you don't know what you don't know. If you've heard that before, there's a lot
mm-hmm.
of things that you could learn just having the right guidance, a coach, a mentor to help you throughout the process.
Well said. And you came to the right place. So thank you for sharing that as well. Um, what do you find most inspiring for you today?
Um, people. People inspire me. People who sacrifice, whether it's a policeman, a military service member, healthcare providers, teachers, educators, anyone who makes a personal sacrifice
Hmm.
to give something to others, that inspires me. So what I do, Donna, in the year and a half to 2 years of not making any progress with my business, where I was just making tons of expenses to, I don't know, to get to a certain point, it's all worth it. Every single penny that I spend is definitely worth it because I know the potential. I know where we're headed, and it's really to make a difference in people who inspire me. And for me, that's the vascular access professional, the specialist that I truly admire because you've got a huge role in healthcare. To put that in perspective, have you ever had an IV, Donna? Have you ever been to the
Yep.
hospital? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, so just to put
Mhm.
things in perspective, about 80 to 90% of patients who get admitted to a hospital will get an IV. It's the most commonly performed invasive procedure in a hospital setting. Now, out of those 30 to 40% who go to the hospital, they're considered divas. Not in a bad way. DIVA stands for difficult intravenous access.
Mm,
Chances are they're going to fail the IV placement. Okay. And on average, divas get stuck about 5 to 7 times. So the chances are you're going to get stuck about 5 to 7 times before they get intravenous access in someone who's a difficult stick.
mm.
Okay. So so that means that we have a lot of work to do. We need more vascular access specialists. Um, even a second attempt or third attempt, that's not good enough. I think we can do better. So that's the mission right there. That's what we're trying
Okay.
to do, and it's worth every second and every penny that we've spent.
And I will concur with that as a patient who has been typically they get it on the first stick, but I've experienced where it's been several times, and that's no fun at all. So if you can get
Yeah.
it done in one, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Dago, this has been awesome. So, what is the best way for our audience to get in contact with you to learn more?
Yeah, so visit our website. It's www.clinspec or send me an email directly at Dago, that's spelled D as in Delta, A as in Alpha, G as in Golf, O as in Oscar, at clinspec
Very good. Dago, thank you so much for sharing your story. This is fantastic, and what you have to offer is just amazing, incredible.
Thank you, Donna, and thanks to you for spotlighting this. This would not happen if we didn't have, again, people who sacrifice their time to make sure that people like us and companies like ours are making a difference. So thank you.
You're welcome. This is a Business Spotlight series with Dona Kappmeyer from Action Coach KGP and Capital Game Plan Consulting, along with Dago Salinas from ClinSpec. Please be sure to like and subscribe so you can continue to see our great content. Thank you and bye for now. Bye
See
bye.
you. Thank you.